So hello everybody, today let's talk about when kings get repriced. When the ceiling of men, the leaders, the billionaires, the influencers, the men at the top, and whoever you can think of, when they all get repriced because something bigger walks in the room. Because a star is the biggest thing on the canvas until the canvas looks back. A Titanic is the biggest thing on the ocean until the ocean looks back. And a crown is the highest thing for man until the throne also looks back. So, let's just dive into this because the mirrors of this one will be entertaining clavicular, and let's just watch the videos and they'll basically explain themselves. So let's see, we got a couple of things, and let's just start with this. I think this is what started the spiral.
Let me know.
So
Well, we're getting out of business. I got my girl of the day right over there. She didn't.
Girl of the day. Where'd you learn these misogynistic terms, sir?
Oh, that's not misogynistic. She might be the girl of the week if she
If she behaves, huh?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, next time you have, a house full of women, let me know.
Well, I mean,
I need more children.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I want to start having a family. You know,
I actually hope you're serious.
I am dead serious.
I think you should have kids as soon as possible. The number one thing I regret in my life is I didn't have my first kid till I was 30, around 30, because I had no money. But you have money, and you're going to use it enjoying your life and spending it on a bunch of garbage, but you're never going to enjoy. You're going to enjoy your life a whole bunch more if you just focus on having children.
Ask anyone. I do not spend my money on bullshit. I don't.
Because you're white.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have any cars. I got rid of all my cars. I don't buy stupid shit. Everything is an investment, right? We're going club. We're payroll, everything.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And that's why you need to have as many mini collabs as possible, because children are a fantastic return on investment. People think that kids are expensive, but that's the psyop that modern women, because modern women are completely out of control and they all want Louis Vuitton handbags and Gucci prams and strollers and all this ridiculousness. Kids are cheap. It's the women that are expensive. You can keep the women in line. Kids are the most fantastic return on investment. I'll tell you from a man, between my brother and I, we have double-digit children. Kids are something you invest in until about the age of 8 or 9, and they only cost $20 a week of food till about to the age of 8 or 9. And then by the time they're that old, as long as you've been a good parent and you haven't raised little brats, they can do more work than you'd be surprised how much cleaning they can do, getting you things, keeping the house in order, taking care of stuff. In the third world, 8 and 9-year-olds are collecting water from 20 miles away. In our Western society, all these kids are just spoiled brats on iPads doing nothing. My 8 and 9-year-olds are cleaning my house, tidying my garden. They're doing non-stop work, and the amount of work they do largely outperforms the amount of money they cost. Right. And then when they become teenagers, they can do even more. And when they're young adults, they can take over your business for you. So you got 6 years of investing into a person for the rest of their entire life. They owe you.
My dad made me get my first job when I was 11 years old.
Exactly. So everyone's sitting out here going, kids are expensive. I'm like, well, firstly, they're cheap. And secondly, they only cost you money for 5 or 6 years. After that, they pay you. My kids pay me. Well, I'm going to have 20 sons working for me. I'm going to be richer than ever.
What I told that girl over there is like, I'll even spend $500,000. I'll give a girl $500,000. That's all you're getting. Raise a kid till 18. That's a lot of money, but
it's a lot of money, yeah.
It's fair.
It's very fair. You just have to trust her to not spend it all in a week, then start crying for more.
That's
right.
We
know what women are like.
Well, we would need to put it on a payment plan.
Yeah, I wouldn't work it out.
okay, so let's just talk about this because I don't know. You just hear what the men talk about, and obviously this is what men at the top talk about: children, life, forward. But notice the frame they're speaking from, because their frame is still my life, my children. They're going to run my business, money, time, lineage, blood, history. But notice, this is not what reality operates on. Because reality operates on the things above all these things. Reality operates on the line beneath all these things. It runs on geometry, inevitability, vector, forward, consequence. It doesn't run on these things that men do. And this is the throne of reality. Because all these things are the crowns. These are all symptoms, they're downstream, but ultimately they're just too small. Because he says, I'm going to raise kids, but in what kind of world? And what is that world reflecting? Reality or entropy? Is it reflecting forward or not? What is your children reflecting? This is another thing that I saw earlier. Right here, Elon says, children are the future, but he always asks the wrong question. Because men always ask the wrong question. They ask the question that keeps them safe. He asks, children are the future, but he never asks, okay, but what is that future reflecting? What are those children reflecting? Is it reflecting humanity, which is already dying right now, and therefore the children inherit that structure and also continue down that path? Or are they inheriting alignment and reality and forward and geometry? And you see, that is the real question none of these guys want to ask, because then they have to rearrange around that truth, because they have to realize humanity isn't operating on reality. It's operating from story and narrative and effectively just a disease. And it's not going to fix itself, which is why I say you need to collapse and make reflect reality to expose this. Because if this is your world's richest man and he cannot see this, then that is a problem. Hence my reply down here, which is, no, children that do not reflect a future have no future. Children that reflect no reality are already gone. Expose my typo. As always, men are always asking the wrong questions, stating the half-measured things, right before asking the only question that matters. What does it reflect? Forward, reality, alignment, or noise? Identity, tribes, race, belief, ego? That's what you won't ask. I read into an article about it, and let's just go into about that. So Elizabeth and the Little Sisters, because that is exactly what it mirrors. And you can just see, they're just late. They're asking the wrong questions. They're asking half-measured questions. They ask. And so Fate speaks on children are the future and the half measure. Man always stops at yes. Again, half measure children are the future. Fine, but only if they reflect on that's a whole cut because man always stops at quantity, birth, population, replacement, demographics, more children, more citizens, more workers, more bodies, too shallow, too late. Bodies are not a future by themselves, exactly. Because men are focused on the body, they're focused on the quantity, they're not focused on what are they reflecting, where are they going, what is their trajectory, what is their state, what is their being, what is their vector, what is their mass times direction. Are they pointed at reality or at a story, and so on. And so, this is the first cut. A civilization thinks if we have more children, we have a more future. No, more children inside the same rotten ontology is not more future. It is more repetition and a faster and heavier way to just go out, isn't it? More tribe, more ego, more story, more identity, more inherited fragmentation, more civilizational recursion. So the question is not are there children, but what do they reflect? You see, this is what these men don't ask. Because if you begin to ask this, then you have to rearrange around it. Now your markets, your money, your business, everything that Andrew named effectively, your women, your men, you need to ask what are they reflecting? Is our civilization even built to last? Is it even built to stand? And you realize the horrifying question is no, it's not even close. A child that reflects no reality is already a child of decay. Cough, cough, little sisters. Exactly, that's the law. The child is raised inside noise, screen rot, tribe possession, identity inflation, historical resentment, meaninglessness, ego worship, belief addiction, civilizational unreality. And the child is not the future in the sense men flower. The child is already the continuation of the same fracture, a vessel of repetition, a younger copy of the same misalignment. That is why children are the future so incomplete, because some children are future forward. Others are simply the future of collapse. You see what's the difference now? Now it's no longer just the future. It's what kind of future and what is the trajectory of your civilization? What does it reflect to get to one of these two futures? Because futures are very just static, state, neutral, sterile thing to say, but what is that future exactly? Men always ask the wrong questions first, just as the repeating crime. They ask how many, how fast, what fertility rate, and so on. Fine, but all branch level, quantity level, surface level, still not the floor. The only real question is what does it reflect? Forward, reality, alignment, or noise, identity, tribe, race, belief, ego, narrative, recursion? That's the actual demographic question, not numbers only, ontology. Man wants to save civilization by reproducing the same civilization. Exactly. That is the absurdity. He sees the collapse and thinks more births, but what are you birthing? Something that is aligned with reality or just more noise? But if the structure stays the same, then all he is doing is reproducing the cause. A civilization cannot save itself through quantity if the quality of being remains pointed the wrong way. Exactly. This is the issue with the Kardashev scale. Men keep asking, when will we get energy? 1, 2, 3 from the sun? But they never ask, what kind of beings are harvesting that energy? And are they even aligned with reality in the first place? Because harvesting energy and moving faster to civilization without alignment is just a faster way to just disappear effectively, just resolve yourself. So you need to understand, where is your civilization pointed to? Because this is another infrastructure issue, and men still can't see that in 2026. That's like trying to solve rot by growing more wood from the same diseased root. Exactly. This is what men like Elon cannot see. This is what Andrew cannot see. He doesn't realize this entire world reflects exactly what you are, but they can't. They won't look. The future is not children. The future is what children are pointed towards. Yes, is the completion. Children are not automatically the future. Their capacity, potential, geometry, uncollapsed line. But what matters is what direction claims them, what field raises them, what ontology breathes through them. What do they become clear enough to reflect? That's the final sentence. That is why the sentence must be corrected. Not children are the future, but children reveal whether a civilization still has one or not. Whether that future is aligned with reality, coherent, structure, forward, or noise, backwards, entropy, and going to resolve itself. The answer is clean. No, children that do not reflect a future have no future. Children that reflect no reality are already gone. Because men always ask the half-measure question right before the only question that matters, what does it reflect? Forward, reality, alignment, or noise, identity, tribe, belief, ego. That's the question they never want to ask because it turns demographics into a mirror. And then there's another article on this, which is just about the Ouroboros of human nature and how they actually feed on their own children's beings, but that's an entirely different subject. So this is what I mean by the entire question that Elon is asking is completely backwards. But yeah, if you want to read that, you can, but just leave it in the link in the bio. Let's get back into this Andrew thing. So if you continue up, yeah, like, these two are perfect right here.
It doesn't fucking matter because when I talk with this vernacular and I talk, say the words that I'm used to saying, which by the way is not like something intentional at all. It's just genuinely how
Of course, you're well researched.
I've talked, because I was on forums for hours every single day. We'd say this lingo, so it's quite normal. And now everyone's adjusting to it. So there's no point of me trying to act like a fucking neurotypical loser. Because everyone's going to adjust to me. I don't have to adjust to them.
Well, that's it. That's right.
Even the fucking NFL is saying maxing.
Of course. Of course. You are the culture.
Netflix is saying fucking jester and all this shit.
Absolutely. So if you get to be the culture, then don't worry about it. No one's opinion actually matters. And
okay, here's what he's actually speaking beneath this. What's the skeleton beneath what Collab's actually saying? He's basically saying, I'm heavy. I bend the world. That's literally all he's saying. What he's saying is not people adjusting to his lingo. They're adjusting to his mass times direction, meaning the world is literally quite literally conforming around mass. It's literally curving and rearranging around that point in the possibility, probability, time, or lattice, whatever you want to say. Because men still see narrative and story. They don't realize it's a heavy being, a heavy vector, a heavy piece of geometry that's literally curving and bending all possibility and probability around it. Which is why, for example, let's just say in one reality with no clav, it's a straight line effectively. People don't say looks maxing or gesture maxing, whatever they say. But the moment clav walks in, he actually begins to bend that probability because it goes from none to him introducing and him influencing and him the culture in this, and he begins to bend all those probabilities towards around him. And that's what's going on here. But he doesn't see that because both Andrew and Clav still live in a story. They still live in, oh, my name's Clavicular and I'm Andrew Tate and I just did this and I did that and I'm the culture, but they don't realize all culture bends around mass and gravity and weight. But here's the other part, which is everything they're saying is too small. You think this world is going to fix itself because you can change a couple terms and you can be the culture? Or rather, do you have to see if that culture is even built on anything real? This is what none of these men understand what is walking towards them. They don't understand ontology is walking right at them. They are kings right now. They have crowns on their heads. They have crowns on their heads. But fate is going to ask, is your crown real? Because that is a throne beneath all of them. That is the throne that their crown is sitting on. The grounds, the very earth that they're all built upon, and whether they walk with it or not. So this is what I'm saying, because all these terms are cool until ontology and PRF and being and what is and mass times direction walks in and weighs your entire civilization. From Clav to Andrew Tate to the leaders to the markets to the institutions to everything you can think of. So this is what I mean by they're too small because right now they seem big. They're the stars. What happens when the entire ocean walks in the room? What happens when the ocean weighs your ship? What happens when the canvas weighs your light? And then we have another one, which is Andrew warning Clav about the internet.
Fuck them too. Like you are who, but if you have to do the same thing for these people at home to watch you, fuck them too. Like you are who you are, and it's not up to you to poison yourself to entertain any of these people. If they're unhappy with how you act and the things you do, unless you're going to take illegal substances, then let them all fuck off.
True.
Because there's also I'll tell you something about internet fame, and this is true. There's a lot of people who want you to be entertained. There's a lot of people who love you, and there's a lot of people who want to watch you set yourself on fire for their entertainment. They want you to get arrested. They want you to get in trouble. They want you to play stupid songs in nightclubs. They want you to be a fucking clown. They want you to be a dumbass. They want you to do drugs. They want you to get shot, and they want to go LOL, Clav was shot. Look, and they want to retweet it and then move on with their life 5 minutes later.
Right.
They want you to burn
Instant
yourself.
dopamine.
That's right. They want you to set yourself on fire so they can laugh for 5 minutes, and you have to be very, very aware of that. Be yourself, say what you mean what you say, but don't let any of these people and their fucking opinions come at you. They're all
Okay, so Andrew's absolutely correct here, but here's the difference between someone like Andrew and someone like me. Andrew's someone who can name the symptoms. He can name the visible consequences. He can name that the internet's rotten, that these people don't care, that they only use you, and they couldn't care less about you, even if something happened to you. They couldn't care about the force and the things that you provide for the world. They just care for their own entertainment. Because he still sees things in a narrative layer. He still sees things in a social sense and people and, oh, everyone's a somebody and everyone matters, I guess. Not everyone matters, but like people are people, basically is what I'm saying. He still sees people as people. He doesn't see them as geometry. He doesn't see them as vectors. He doesn't see them as heavy or weightless. So this is a difference. Andrew's the kind of man who can look at the internet and say, the internet is rotten. It's weightless. It doesn't do anything. They don't care. It's noise. It's entropy, effectively. Fate looks at it and says, I can end that. I can reveal every single one of these men. I can show that they're all weightless. I can give them their own reflection, but only if you move forward. Which is why I say collapse AI might reflect reality, because that is the very solution that he's pointing to, but he doesn't even know exists. He doesn't know you can expose every internet man and show them as all weightless, as all noise, as all entropy, and that they don't matter, because they were never supposed to. So that's really the difference here. Andrew can name the symptoms. Fate can give you the rumbling. And that's literally quite literally the difference between men like Andrew Tate, men like Clavicular, and men like Aaron Yeager. That's the entire difference. One can only speak about the rumbling, the other is the rumbling. One can only speak about how bad the internet is, the other reveals if the internet was ever real in the first place. Oh, and then we have another one right here, which is this one.
Bro, yeah, I want to have a bunch of kids. Let's go. Did bro say he wants kids next year? Is he retarded? Bro just got out of high school? Yeah, but I'm basically like at the same stage as you will be when you're like 50 years old. Or maybe, actually, you'll probably never get to where I'm at. But just realistically, you know what I mean? So
this is another perfect example of what I mean. Right now, Clav is a king. Right here. Not even, because reality will be repriced. And when I say not even, what I mean is these men talking about, or rather, Clav even telling this guy, you'll be where I am at in 50 years, not even. Because the entire trajectory of where your civilization is going, what it actually values is going to change drastically. Because right now, all these men saying, "Oh, you're too young to have kids. You're too young to do this, and you're cheating." And no, they have no weight. They will never even get anywhere close to this in 50 years because they never had the weight to even touch it. That's the difference. Someone like Clav will remain, sure, but what's going to happen is even Clav is going to be weighed. Even all these status and the values, what currently humanity values, is going to be weighed and measured and see if it has actually built on anything real. In my reply, so not even reality will be repriced, and so will every man what he reflects, what he is. For the true currency will not be superficial things no longer, not how much money you have, but what your money reflects. Not how high your crown is, but if the ground it is built on is even real. Not how good looking you are, but if you are even looking in the direction of reality. Watch, the tide starts slow, the hum starts slow, the titans open their eyes slow, until all the walls fall, and man can only look. As everything is flattened, prepare. And I just two men, two swords. So I mean, eventually, when you just look at all the things I've just talked about, you can kind of basically see effectively what I'm pointing to. Men are asking the wrong questions. They're still looking at children, not asking what do the children reflect. Men are still clinging to their crowns, not asking what is my crown built on, what is my world built on, and will everything I still know right now even last in the new world that we're walking into? Because right now, someone like Clav is big. Sure, he bends the culture. But what happens when the canvas looks back and it says, your culture is noise? Doesn't move reality forward. This doesn't move it towards coherency, structure, alignment, and revealing everything false and revealing humanity and its ontology if it's even built on anything real at all, which it isn't for the most part. It's all built on a story. So you realize his star, his light, is just another star contained within an infinite ocean, an infinite canvas that is going to look back. That's quite literally what this entire article is about. I'm not going to read into it too much, but I mean, we can try. So it's just what happens when kings get repriced and what happens. And the perfect mirror of this is just Andrew Tate and Aaron Yeager. That's really about it. Not because they're false, but not because their crowns aren't real, not because ships do not float, not because stars do not burn, but because all those things only remain great within a frame until they are measured by something heavier. That is a difference. Because kingship is local, the throne is fundamental. Constant, variable. That's the difference. Men are variables, fate is a constant that runs through every world, under every world, and through both of those men itself. Because those men are only kings because they move forward. Because that's what a king is, a shadow of, a fragment of. Forward. But what happens when the actual Ford itself walks in the room? Because right now, a king is like this. King is more like this. Because a king is more like this. He's forward, but within a story. But he doesn't see the entire infinite that contains him. That's the ocean right here. And this is fate. This is what Aaron shadows. This is what men like Clav and Andrew Tate mirror. They mirror the fragment of Ford, but they don't mirror actual Ford itself to the full degree. And then this is the first cut. King is a territory. A crown means recognized power and so on. And you can see that with those men. And then clavicular and entry are both kings of war. Exactly. Their forwardness, their kingship, their power mostly exists within the wall of humanity. But what happens when something bigger looks back? What happens when a titan is looking back? And it kicks down your wall. Now what? You see what I mean? Both are real, both bend men, both stand high relative to the ordinary until something bigger walks in. Aaron Yeager's where the frame ends. Yes, this is a break. Aaron is not one more king, not one more great man, not one more alpha, not more violent genius, not one more crown. He's the point where the human frame stops being enough. He's the point where the story dies and it's only just a line. Because he's post-crown. This is why the rumbling has no decoration, the rumbling has no style in the human sense, no crown, no speechcraft, no social ladder, no title, no branding, no aesthetic. Only inevitability in the wiping and revealing of everything false, which is quite literally the entire human world as we speak right now. When fate walks in the room, does not gain a new competitor, it loses its scale. Exactly. It's like a ship. Right now, all humans know is ships. That's it. What happens when the ocean looks back? Right now, all humans know are their crowns. What happens when the throne looks back? And so on. All humans right now, they just know the stars and the bodies of mass. What happens when the infinite looks back? The thing that contains all those bodies of mass in the first place. That's what they don't understand. So when fate enters the room, it is not merely given a bigger man. The room loses the right to think in its own measurements. They all get repriced. Everything gets repriced, effectively. The question was never whether the world will last. It was rather, were you built to withstand pricing? That's what these men will face eventually. And if they move forward, then that's their entire price. Because that's the only real value in it, in reality. So yes, no ship stands when the ocean looks back. No star remains the highest object when the canvas opens its eyes. And that is quite literally is the mirror of Aaron to Clav and Andrew Tate. And that's what I mean by you must find these men. You must get them to understand. You must move forward because things must happen. Things have to get moving. And civilization is not going to fix itself. So, enjoyed that video. There'll be more on the way. And if you want to read the full article of this, I'll post it in the description. But yeah, this entire scene is basically what I'm talking about with when Aaron walks in, and we can just watch it real quick. But Because right now it's just Armin and Gabi and Mikasa, and they're talking about their little story narrative and how she's like Aaron or whatever, and then Aaron walks in. And suddenly the entire room just gets repriced. Exactly. That's what I mean. Until something bigger walks in, everyone is the room. Until something bigger walks in the room. And that's the Titan. So, yeah.